आपकी एक्चुअल डिक्टेशन प्ले होने जा रही है. बी रेडी. Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise to present the budget. Our government was elected amidst huge expectations of the people. The expectations of the people in electing us for good governance. Their expectations including burning issues like inflation, price rise, and corruption in day-to-day transactions. There was also expectations for a major change in the way the country's natural resources were allocated, processed, and deployed. We shall continue to undertake many more measures to ensure that the fruits of growth reach the farmers and develop employment. Madam Deputy Speaker, I am presenting this budget when the world economy is facing considerable uncertainty in the aftermath of major economic and political developments during the last 1 year. As per current indications, economic policy is expected to be more expansionary in certain large economies of the world. After poor performance in the last year, growth in a number of emerging economies is expected to recover. These are certain positive signs and point to an optimistic outlook for the year. However, there are three major changes for emerging economies. Firstly, the current monetary policy to increase the policy rates may lead to lower capital inflows and higher outflows from the emerging economies. Secondly, the crude oil prices has some implication on these economies. It is, however, expected that increase, if any, in oil prices would get tempered by producers of gas and oil. This would have an impact on prices of crude and petroleum. Thirdly, in several parts of the world, there are signs of increasing retreat from globalization of goods, services, and people. These developments have the potential to affect exports from a number of emerging markets, including India. Over the last 2 years, a number of global reports have shown that India has considerably improved its economic policies and practices. India has become the 6th largest manufacturing countries in the world from the previous 9th position. Presently, we are seen as an engine of global economic growth. In the last 1 year, our country has witnessed historic economic reforms and policy making. In fact, India was one of the very few economies in the world undertaking such reforms. There are two policy initiatives, namely the Constitution Amendment Bill for GST and the Progress for its implementation and demonetization of bank notes. My overall approach while preparing this budget has been to spend more in rural areas, infrastructure, and poverty alleviation, and yet maintain the best standards of fiscal prudence. I have also kept in mind to need to continue with economic reforms, promote higher investments, and accelerate growth. The Indian farmer has once again shown his commitment and resilience in the current year. The total area owned under Kharif and Rabi seasons are higher than the previous year. With a better monsoon, agriculture is expected to grow in the current year. In the last year's budget speech, I focused on income security of farmers to double their income in 5 years. I had also announced a number of measures. We have to take more steps and enable the farmers to increase their production and productivity and to deal with post harvest challenges. We also propose to integrate farmers who grow fruits and vegetables with agro processing units for better prices and reduction of losses. A model law on contract farming would therefore be prepared and circulated among the states for adoption. I now turn to the rural sector, which was so dear to the heart of Mahatma Gandhi. Over 3 lakh crores are spent in rural areas every year. If we add up all the programs meant for rural poor from the central budget, state budgets, bank linkages for self-help groups, etc., Swachh Bharat Mission has made tremendous progress in promoting safe sanitation and ending open defecation. Sanitation coverage in rural India has gone up, and open defecation free villages are now being given priority for piped water supply. We propose to provide safe drinking water to all in the next 4 years. This will be a mission under the National Rural Drinking Water Program. We have also proposed to introduce a system of measuring annual learning outcomes in our schools. Emphasis will be given on science education to promote creativity through local innovative ideas. In higher education, we will undertake reforms in the University Grants Commission. Good quality institutions would be enabled to have greater administrative and academic independence. Colleges will be identified based on ranking and would be given autonomous status. A revised framework will be put in place for credit based programs. आपकी एक्चुअल डिक्टेशन प्ले होने जा रही है। बी रेडी। Now, as explicitly clear from the bare reading of section 204 of the code, when the court taking cognizance of an offence is of the opinion that there is sufficient ground for proceeding with the complaint and the case appears to be a warrant case, the court has a discretion either to issue a warrant or summons for causing the accused to be brought or to appear at a certain time before the court. Stop. It is well settled preposition of law that in complaint cases, when a warrant or summons issued by the court for bringing the accused before it is not executed, and if the court is satisfied that the person will not voluntarily appear in the court or the police authorities are unable to find the person to serve him with a summons, or when it is considered that the person could harm someone if not placed in, particularly in serious economic offences involving large scale fraud, public money, or complex financial crimes. Stop. Ordinarily, arrest is a part of procedure of the investigation to secure not only the presence of the accused but several other purposes. Stop. Power of granting anticipatory bail is an extraordinary power, and the same has to be exercised sparingly. Stop. The privilege of the pre-arrest bail should be granted only in exceptional cases. Stop. The judicial discretion conferred upon the court has to be properly exercised after application of mind as to the nature and gravity of the accusation, possibility of the applicant fleeing justice, and other factors to decide whether it is a fit case for grant of anticipatory bail in view of the settled legal position. It is no more res integra that economic offences constitute a class apart, as they have deep rooted conspiracies involving huge loss of public fraud funds, and therefore such offences need to be viewed seriously. When, after the investigation, a charge sheet is submitted in the court, or in a complaint case, summons or warrant is issued to the accused, he is bound to submit himself to the authority of law. Stop. If he is creating hindrances in the execution of warrants, or is concealing himself and does not submit to the authority of law, he must not granted the privilege of anticipatory bail, particularly when the court taking cognizance has found him prima facie involved in serious economic offences or heinous offences. Stop. In such cases, when the court has reason to believe that the person against whom the warrant has been issued has absconded or is concealing himself so that warrant could not be executed, the concerned court would be perfectly justified in initiating the proclamation proceedings against him. Stop.